Hello and welcome everybody to another edition of the Buy Round podcast. I'm your host, James Graham, and I'm joined by Charlie White.
James Graham, great to be here. How are you, my friend? You look well.
Thank you. I'm back in Australia for 8 days. Got a bit of a routine going on. Mental health is going well. Physical health going well. Football is back. Kind of feel like I'm piecing my life together nicely. Podcast's going great.
Yeah.
You make me smile. The onion is starting to peel back on Charlie White. His true colours are starting to show.
What do you mean by that?
Hey, look, Charlie, I'm one of your biggest fans. Look, I really am. And I think it's important for our listeners to know, like, we've all been around these type of people that when success and fame get to them and how they start to think that rules don't apply to them.
Is it about being late today, is it?
No.
Okay.
Oh, well, no. I mean, any time that I'm fractionally late, it does come up on the show. We know you've been on Sunrise. Yeah, you know.
Tune in Saturday, guys, on Sunrise if you want to.
Saturday. Are you 6
weekend
again?
Sunrise, yeah.
Are you on every weekend?
No, not every weekend, but I'm on this weekend, so tune in.
Nice. And you're on Monday as well?
I was on Monday, yeah.
No, what really, just gobsmacked me, put my jaw to the floor, meeting a potential partner in for coffee for the Montoyas. By the way, if you do know anybody that is keen to partner up with the hugely successful and genuinely funny Montoyas podcast, please get in touch with us and let us know.
They're amazing. If you do listen to the show as well, they've just started their own Patreon. So they basically are doing an extra show a week exclusively on Patreon. But They're hilarious. Like, I've loved working with both of them as well. I love Taylor. I love Marcelo. They're two fantastic human beings.
They are really good human beings. They're really good people, genuine people, and for me, more importantly, they're good company, and we want to help them out. So, look, if you are looking to maybe partner up with someone, get in touch with us at the Buy Round. We can help you out and connect you with them. But we go and meet this potential client, and we're meeting at a cafe. So there's Charlie parks up. There's two spots that say takeaway only, maximum 5 minutes. This is obviously not a council-run car park, but it's clearly that the owners of the cafe, they want that churn over of takeaway clients, because it was in like a geographically strange,
quiet,
situated
street.
Yeah. So I roll up and Charlie just goes, "Just park in there, mate. Like, park in the takeaway only spot. What are they going to do?" I'm like,
I didn't say what are they going to do. I said, there's no spots. Like,
no, you said
what
there's
are they
no
going to
spots.
do?
Well, exactly. yeah. There's no spots. What are you supposed to do? What are they going to do, mate? You just say whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, mate, I am not parking in there. Just, take away the fact of being somewhat recognizable, and if someone cuts you off in traffic and you don't know who they are, you're just like, forget it, whatever. But as we've spoken about before, any sort of this, that there has been an incident of a bit of a, let's call a misunderstanding with a fellow road user in Gaimea, whose mum I actually met. I think I've spoken about this. Brother, you were there when we met his brother.
Yeah, but clearly you're a lunatic on the roads. We learned that. You've got a road rage. Yeah, you say it's the only one incident. It's the only incident that's come back to bite you and has been revealed publicly.
No, mate.
If you've seen Jimmy blowing up on the roads, please get in touch. thebuyround@gmail.com.
Well, I think most people would be on my side in a pretty much a pedestrianised street, close to being a pedestrianised street.
Pedestrianised? What's that?
Pedestrianised. Oh, sorry, it's not pedestrianised.
Pedestrian?
Pedestrianised means where there's no traffic at all.
Gotcha.
But this main row of shops, there's those angled car parks.
Yep.
Angled parks. And, if you're pulling in, then people go round you. It's like, what do you do, mate? You've got to be patient, or you can't get angry that people are waiting for cars to come out, because you know what I mean. That's you're driving through that road anyway. I'm consciously aware of. I stand out a bit more because that's because of a football career or podcast, whatever. So I'm not going in. You go, I'll just go in there. I'm like, mate, if you're willing to give up your legitimate 2-hour spot, I'll take that. You go in there, you run the risk. And you're just like, oh, what are they going to do? I'm a Sunrise Star.
Anyway, well, I did it to be nice to you. I saw you struggling around. You did like 3 laps in for car park spots. And I'm like, mate, I don't care. I'll park in that swing. I'll deal with the awkward interaction because I'm going to be a good bloke for you. And maybe you didn't want to be late for the meeting. I know what you're like when you're late. You stress out. So I was like, you get in there, mate. Get in the cafe. I'll move my car. I'll park in there to be the good bloke. It was actually a good bloke move by me. It was a good bloke move to you.
I was willing to drive around and or be patient.
Yeah, but there was no park, so it wasn't a choice of driving around and be patient. It was literally, all right, well, let's cancel the meeting. Let's cancel the meeting.
No, it wasn't. And then anyway, lo and behold, you park in there, I take your spot, and then after about 10 minutes of us sitting there, the cafe owner comes out and's like, oh, excuse me, you have to move, and you basically just put your foot down and refused.
That's not true.
You just stayed, mate. Did you or did you not stay in that spot?
I did stay in the spot, but let's be genuine with what happened. I stood up, walked over to the. He was like, "Oh, you parking there?" I was like, "Oh no, there's a barrier in that spot. You can't get in." He's like, "Oh no, there is too." And I'm like, "Oh mate, you've got the other spot there. We're only going to be quick. We're having a coffee. I'll just stay here. If someone comes and needs it, I'm happy to move my car. No one needed a spot, so I stayed there for the whole 45 minutes.
So the world are calling to Charlie White, the Sunrise Star.
Yeah.
It really did reveal a lot.
Mate, I did it
like eastern suburbs, wealthy upbringing.
I went to a private school. I didn't have a wealthy upbringing.
Privileged upbringing. No, I don't wait for parks. He parks where he wants.
I went to a public school. Was not wealthy growing up. Just want the record to show. Not wealthy now. Live in a share house because Jimmy doesn't pay us any money in this place.
No, you live in a share house because basically you're tight as cramp and you've got that extra bed. Do they have bedroom tax over here? They bought that.
What's a bedroom tax?
I think it was for people in England. I don't know. They bought in. I know people that blow up. It's called a bedroom tax. I think if you had I think they were trying to encourage empty nesters to get the hell out of their.
Oh, right. Yeah, right.
I don't know if it was for housing commission. If you had a spare room, you got taxed, right. Or whether it was for general people. But basically, you're filling up all your bedrooms with, migrant workers. Yeah. Anyone that will come over.
Jordan lives with me, so not a migrant worker.
Yeah.
But
you're basically running a hostel.
Yeah, Jordan's moved in as part of the buy-in. When we hire you full time, you have to move into the house.
Jordan, just so you know, that's not a clause in your contract. You're free to leave Charlie's residence at any time with his big tub of hummus.
What we should talk about is we mentioned the Patreon for the Montoyas. We do have a Patreon now for ourselves. We do. 2 bonus shows a week, which you'll get on a Monday and a Friday. The first one came out Monday. It was it's an Ask You Anything. It's like a mailbag from the weekend of footy. We had a bunch of the Patreon people submit questions. Now, one of them that we didn't get to, one of them that we did do on the show, we're going to do now as part of this. It's just sort of a plug to say, hey, if you like this kind of stuff, go get the Patreon. Ian wanted to know, Jimmy, who was the best referee you ever had? And how did it affect... And sorry, there's 2 parts to these questions. I'll do that again. Ian asks, who is the best referee you've had? And also, did you notice any changes on the 6 again rule change?
Best referee I've had, or best referee at the moment, I'd certainly say Adam G.
The G-string?
The G-string. I think he controls the game well. Generally speaking, when he's in charge, things seem to run a little bit smoother. The players seem to have a respect for him. What you see is what you get. The penalty. It's a hard one, really, because it's always that game of cat and mouse. But I think, generally speaking, Adam G would be the best. I'm going to pivot here and tell you the worst. I had one when I was playing in the Super League. He was a Frenchman.
Oh, no.
And he was shocking.
Is that because he hates the English, though?
Thierry Albert, his name was. He was broken English and he didn't know the rules.
Yeah, wow.
I can remember St. Helens, we played someone And you know, one of those like 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, like who knocked on? And he just goes, scrum down. And we're like, who's head and feed? And he's like, bind. And we're like, no, who's head and feed? And like both teams just stood there just going, who's ball? And he was like, bind. That's all he kept saying. And we were like, mate, you need to tell us who's feeding the scrum. And he's like, no, bind. Wow. Just had no idea.
So did someone just grab the ball then? And that's when you say, yep, no worries, ref. Someone grabbed the ball. I can't even remember.
I can just remember this. He was just a shocker, mate. I think it was a tokenistic. We've got a French team in. We've got to have a French match official. Yeah. He was shocking. Poor old Thierry Albert.
Yeah, poor lad. Yeah. Poor lad. It's funny how because I agree with you, Adam G is the best referee in the game now, but he sort of fell out of love with him a little bit there at the NRL, because now Grant Atkins is obviously, he got the grand final most recently. Ashley Klein did a bit of Origin, and he was the golden boy for a little while there. But I do agree with you that Adam G is the best.
Yeah, it is. I guess, you know, I think it's Jared Maxwell that is in charge of the match officials.
And Annesley, it all sits under Annesley as well.
Yeah, like maybe they're looking for different things that we're looking for. And, you know, match officials are always going to be in the spotlight. I don't envy their job by any stretch of the imagination. The bunker is there to support and help them. I think, unfortunately, the match officials at times get lumped in with the same the same sort of maybe mistakes that sometimes is a fault of the bunker, or, you know, a lack of, you know, the bunkers, you know, when the bunker decides to interfere or not interfere, I think that can impact the referee or the match officials. So yeah, they probably get a bit of unfair criticism at times because of decisions made by the bunker. Like if the bunker's there to take away the shocker or provide clarity on a decision, that what's supposed to happen is 100% of the game goes, people watching, players, administrators, staff, whatever you say, go, okay, was that an obstruction or not? Was that a knock on or a strip? Ideally you go, we're all on board with that call because of here's the laws of the game, but sometimes it doesn't work like that, and unfortunately the match officials get a bit of the criticism when it's more the bunker, in my opinion. Yeah. You asked about the notable difference in the six again. I think I speak to some fans and they get incredibly frustrated with six agains because they just hear that ding dong noise and come through ruck infringement, and it's not really explained. But I'm like, does it need to be? So, and it's a better way to act than just penalising that all the time, because the reason the six again came in is because players were holding down, penalties were being. We quickly forget, don't we? I can remember a time when I was playing, attacking try lines. If you were up by 4 or more points, that team that was, if they were defending, they would just hold down on try line all the time because of the value of a quick ruck. You just hold down. Before you concede a try, don't concede a quick ruck on try line, because if we get time, we'll defend that all day. It's counterintuitive. You know, the closer you are to try line, it becomes negative returns. Like once you get inside that 10, it's actually harder to score, believe it or not, than maybe when you're like 20 or 30 meters out. So teams would hold down, then they get a penalty, which would make it even slower. The defense is set. But the idea of the six again is you take away that break that was given in the penalty to speed it up, to make it more consequential to the defending side for holding down. Like I say, there was a time where penalty was blown, captain would go and speak to the referee, say, what's going on? You're holding down. There's time that's being bought by the defensive side to get their energy back and reset. Now with the 6 again, they don't get that time back. So it's punishing the defending side more than it usually would. That said, obviously the consequences of holding down now after the 20-metre line, a ruck infringement penalty, say on kick return, is less because you're encouraged to do that more, because the consequence of conceding a 6 again versus conceding an old school penalty is, well, it's one more tackle versus they kick the ball down and get better field position. So there's pros and cons to it, but I for one, certainly wouldn't want to go back to how it used to be. I think the 6 again has done wonders for our game.
Yeah. I wonder if we might see a couple of them be called as professional fouls as the year goes on, because some of those ones that were quite obvious, blatant holding people down, I think that should be a professional foul. There was a couple, I think, in the Dolphins Bunnies game that really stood out, and you were like, yeah, these guys they're clearly intentionally giving away 6 again.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll see how that goes. Yeah, go, Jimmy.
Well, that's it, Charlie. And this is arguably going to put more pressure on the match officials to make these calls, because it's subjective about when it becomes a professional foul. But I think that will de-incentivize the deliberate 6 again, because it is a professional foul. Like if a player makes a break, a line break, and you hold that player down for too long, it's not 6 again, it's you're off.
Yeah.
So it's not too dissimilar. It's close. And I think the Roosters maybe conceded 3-6 again in the space of maybe 10 to 12 plays in that Warriors game.
Yeah.
Well, someone's got to go there.
And also, mate, the penalty count, they got a warning about, in that game, they got a warning about foul play and infringements, but then they kept on giving up penalties and no one was sin bin. It was quite strange.
Well, yeah, it is. I guess nobody wants to see players sin bin. The image of our sport is really important. I compare what happened in the South Sydney Dolphins game with what I would describe as a minor altercation between some forwards that were going after each other, and it repeated itself. It was Fafita into Flegler and then Fafita into Tom Gilbert. A little bit of, I don't know what Fafita's supposed to do. Both of those players are sent to the bin. Well, for me, I'd rather a team that concedes multiple 6 agains on purpose be punished with a player in the bin than what we witnessed on Sunday, which was much to do about nothing, really.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. If you like those questions and answers, do jump on the Patreon. You get a full episode of this on a Monday. So, go and grab that. There's a link in the show notes. So,
and we've also got our all other business show.
Yeah, exactly.
With other sports
on a
today.
Friday.
We're going to be looking into the NBA.
Yeah.
And denying the
strip club partnership fell to a halt for the Atlanta Hawks. So we can talk about that.
Also, Major League Baseball. Netflix are on board for opening day.
That's big. Yeah, well, it's funny you mentioned Netflix. They have pulled out of the race for the NRL rights. So that came out today. And I don't think came out yesterday, sorry. And I don't think that really surprises anyone. They're looking for those sports that have global reach. As much as we love rugby league, it obviously doesn't have a global reach yet. But I think the NRL are in an amazing position for these current rights deal that's coming up.
They are. But I think what Netflix have said, they want major showpiece one-off events. Hello,
Origin.
That is a product that could lead us into going global.
Yeah.
Look, something I can't be a part of. It's unique within all of world sport. I can't think of an interstate rivalry concept, one state v one state. It's either international or it's city-based, or it's the All-Stars, the East v West, the North v South, the conference stuff. It's the only example in world sport that I know that has that interstate rivalry, and that even now does cut into rugby union. We hear about Gordon Tallis on Sunday Simbin talking about the Kangaroos stayed in the same hotel as the Wallabies. They were all fascinated by the Origin. Like, they loved Origin. It already cuts through into that rugby union market. I think there's something there for the potential for a Netflix to have those 3 games, and we know what comes with Netflix in terms of the build-up.
The Origin rights would be worth probably $100 million a year. It's worth a lot of money. Would you give something like that to Netflix for them to broadcast it on a global scale? Be a big, big call.
I don't know if you could do it for free. No, you couldn't. Unless you had that subsidised by the partners of Origin.
Yeah.
So whoever partners with State of Origin now would be, the impact and the impressions and all that stuff that comes with building a partner base would be completely blown out of the water compared to where it's at now. Like, Origin already, you could say, is a global product, but should it land on Netflix, then yeah, wow, we'd be in for some serious business.
Yeah, because they've got a huge opportunity, the NRL, for these rights, and I'd love to see a game a weekend up on Channel 7. I think it could be a massive opportunity for the NRL to have the rugby league on the 2 biggest networks in Australia. Yes, it would only be probably 1 game a week on Channel 7, but if that's on a Saturday when Channel 9 doesn't have any rugby league, or if that's on a Monday or a Sunday night, depending on what this new slot is, I think it's a good opportunity for NRL to reach a lot more, especially in places like Melbourne and Perth and Adelaide.
The 7 thing does make sense, and just going back to that that Origin play on Netflix. You know what? The more I think of it, probably has to be on free-to-air.
Origin?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there is siphoning laws in Australia, isn't there? Anti-siphoning laws. I don't know if Origin falls into it.
Yeah. So is that where certain events are protected and have to be given to the public for free? I think.
Correct. Like Test cricket.
Yeah, if Origin isn't in that category, then it certainly should be.
Yeah, like the FIFA World Cup's going to be on SBS.
Yeah.
There's certain sporting events, the Olympics, has to be available on free-to-air TV.
Well, I know Amazon, they go a big play for Boxing Day with the Premier League. All Boxing Day games are only available on Amazon. And obviously, they pay a huge whack for that. But then is enter into the conversation around, Magic Round being only available on a certain platform. Obviously, you get your free-to-air games as well.
Yeah.
There's so many possibilities, and this world, Charlie, as we know, is constantly evolving, expanding, and one of the greatest assets of how we consume our media is live sport.
Yeah,
like it is so important to any media company, and that is a huge umbrella that a lot of things fall under. Live sport, it is sought after, which is great for NRL and rugby league.
Yeah, NRL, whether we like it or not, and this is why I've actually been a bit disappointed that Lomax has gone. But whether you like it or not, rugby league's in a code wars with rugby union. They're fighting them at all times, and
I think that here in Australia that is not over, but it's like
we dominate domestically, but on an international scale, Wallabies would blow rugby league out of the water because of what they do on an international level. Of course they would. This home World Cup is going to dominate,
but that's not because of
internationally.
That's not because of the Wallabies.
Doesn't matter though. Just as at rugby union, we're at a code wars with the rugby union. We're not necessarily just going against the Wallabies. We're going up against rugby union as well. Well, we should be. Like, rugby league should be trying to compete with rugby union.
I get it, but in this country, I think it's, we've got our competitors, which I actually think we need each other. Like, it's no good just being a one-trick pony. We're not celebrating if rugby union, become insolvent in this country. Not that I think it ever would, or the AFL. Like, and they would feel the same about league. We need each other to almost prop each other up.
100%. But we should be trying rugby league to compete with rugby union, and that's why I think losing someone like Zach Lomax to the game of rugby union, whether you think he's an important player in rugby league or not, it still gets extra eyeballs on rugby union. People are going to watch the Western Force as a result. People are going to tune in for his first game. When I reckon I didn't even know the Western Force existed, if I'm being honest. I had no idea the Western Force was still in the Super Rugby. But then Zach Lomax signs them, and now they're back. People are talking about the Western Force. They average like 5,000 people watching their games in Perth. They're irrelevant. The Western Force are as irrelevant. The A-League's got more eyeballs on it than bloody the Western Force. No offense to Tony, who loves the A-League. But I think where league could make some inroads in rugby union, or where rugby union could make some inroads in rugby league, I think it's an opportunity for both union and rugby league, is at the junior level, and is to introduce weight categories for junior kids, because you will get every single parent signing their kid up for the sport that is weighted, especially when the kids that have, the parents that have smaller kids and things like that, they're going to put them in the weight categories. Because, like, you saw it, and it does work. In New Zealand, they do it, and they produce Nathan Cleary. So weight categories do work, and it's a way you will get kids playing the sport, because parents more and more, every single year, get more nervous around their children, and people want to protect their children more and more. That's just the world we're living in. We're living in a society that is valuing safety over everything else. So how do you do that? Well, you let these junior kids play in weight categories, and I guarantee you more parents will be signing their kids up for that code over the other. So it's a huge chance for rugby league or rugby union to do that, in my opinion.
It's incredibly complex, and obviously the tradition has been age categories, and that seems to have worked. And obviously through changing demographics and changes in societal norms, there is the idea of the weight category being introduced. I'd like to keep it, and this is really difficult because it is so complex. I think by having it purely weighted, you have a huge disparity in ability, because there are some smaller kids that would be older and play against the same weight but much younger, and that does nothing for their development. But obviously you're looking at it through the prism of safety. I think maybe it becomes a capped weight. So under 9s or under 10s or under 11s or under 12s, and hey, look, this opens up a huge can of worms around, you identify a kid, and you have to say, and obviously you don't want kids cutting weight, but maybe there's just an honest conversation of you've got to play up a year.
Yeah, but you've got to put in laws in place, and you've got to put in systems in place. You can't just be like, oh, case by case, trust me, mate, you're too good to be playing this. No,
it's not about being too good. It's
or
about
you're being too big. Yeah. And mate, if you're a little kid and you're playing rugby union, what are you going to watch? You're going to watch your rugby union over the rugby league because you want to watch what you're playing. And if you're a little kid playing rugby league, you're going to watch rugby league. So I think it's an opportunity where one of these codes can come in, put this in, and watch all the juniors play this sport, or a huge majority of the juniors. And some parents might be listening saying, nah, I'd still have my kid play rugby league. Well, and you might. But I think the majority of people would lean towards the weight category because you've got young kids, mate. How worried are parents with safety around children?
Yeah, of course, yeah. It is the primary concern of any parent, and for every, I think back to me playing as a kid and go, Jesus, how did my dad watch that? And different, watching your son be confrontational with another human being or another bloke, and sometimes, or another kid, and sometimes get the best, sometimes get the worst, sometimes be on the receiving end of a big shot. It's be confronting for a parent to watch, and it's sometimes you've got to let your kids figure out what they're capable of, what they're not capable of, and watch them develop and grow. And there is advantages to playing people that are bigger than you, smaller than you, older than you, more skillful than you. I look at I've looked into youth development
in New Zealand,
not just necessarily New Zealand, but there are some countries that it's just you move up on that age. The day you turn that, you have experience of being the youngest in the group, and then you have experience being the middle, and then experience being the oldest. Because it used to be the old, the birthday was a big predictor of. The month of birth was a predictor of professional athletes.
Yeah.
So in England,
still is.
Yeah. So in Australia, it would be January, February, March, because that's when the year group begins.
Well, often the January kids start the year after.
Yeah.
So it's probably more March, April, I'd say, would be the oldest kids in their age, in their year.
So in England, the school year is it's black and white. It starts on the 1st of September. So that means in most European sporting cultures, especially team sport, the September, October, November kids are disproportionately represented in professional sport and all through youth teams. So there's an idea there about looking at how, because obviously they're playing against kids that are 9, 10, 11 months younger than them. They've got that advantage. They've got an age advantage, distinct age advantage. So that what some countries do is that program where you get different experiences about being the youngest and the oldest, because you learn so much from that. But on the weighted category, I think it opens up a lot. It leads to a lot more problems that you could counteract, obviously. But I think rugby union faces the bigger difficulty. They've got much more diversity in the size and body shape of their athletes than what rugby league.
Yeah, well, I actually think rugby union are the ones that should do it, if anyone, because league is dominating on a domestic level, and rugby union need to do something to shake it up. This would be an easy way to shake it up, and also because the issue with rugby union faces, it's a private school sport, isn't it? It's played by mostly private school kids. Like, this is a way to maybe get a more broader range of children playing your sport, which is what you want. Like, that's the issue they've had, is they've been too self-focused on themselves and their setups they have. And we got Mercedes sponsoring us. How good's this? Well, yeah, it's great, but also no one's playing it at a junior level compared to rugby league.
I do, however, think the positive side of the pathway system that rugby league is producing. Especially now with touch, which has always been around, OzTag, League Tag. There are multiple versions of the game that you can play in a minimal contact way.
But eventually you've got to graduate to the tackle. Yeah. And tackling people your own size actually helps you build good tackle technique. It helps you get better at tackling. Like, taking down the big kid by grabbing around the ankles, yeah, sure, that's obviously going to be important, But like I think you can build up to that. So it's like, all right, when you're at this weight category, you build that tackle technique and make that really important for coaching. And
the only thing is, it's going to go back to the birth month problem. So you're going to have, say you've got a weight category of between 50 and 60 kilos. Like, where's the age range? So you might have an age range between 11 and 14. So the 14-year-old playing against an 11-year-old, yeah, they're the same weight, but they're completely different abilities.
No, but then if anything, that's going to help that 11-year-old. If he's playing with 14-year-olds, he's actually going to improve his skill set.
Potentially, or they could just get blown away. Then they lose interest.
But it's better than the 11-year-old running over, being 60 kilos and running over a bunch of 35, 40 kilo kids and just running through and building no skill set whatsoever. Yeah, the amount of players you see that, like, these big young kids who dominate at 12, 13, and then it gets in like, I've developed no ability. All I've done is run over a try line with 4 guys holding on to me.
Oh, I know what you're saying, Charlie, but
the system works. They built Nathan Cleary. Nathan Cleary says that he would not be the player he was if it wasn't for the fact that he was playing in weight categories.
Look, I'm not going to disagree with Nathan Cleary, but he doesn't know what he doesn't know. I think
it produced the best player in the game, though.
Yeah, and look at the non-weighted categories and all the great players that's
of
produced.
Course, 100%. But this is a way.
Reece Walsh would never have been the player he is unless it wasn't for the pathway system that he came through, and it was age divisions.
But I think we've lost track of the point, which was you'll get more junior kids playing the sport with parents if you do this, and it's an opportunity for rugby league or rugby union to get the majority of kids playing that sport.
Well, you're making some bold predictions, Charlie.
I am making some bold predictions
about what could or could not happen for the future of our game, rugby union. But we've got a bit of a section here, haven't we, about predictions we'd like back. And I'm going to start.
Okay.
Oh, I'm hesitant to put this out there, but I think my prediction for the Knights for the Spoon, I'd like that one back.
Would you?
Yes.
After seeing that game, yeah. See, I went with the Dragons, and after watching that game, I was like, well, if that's the Wooden Spoon team, we've got a very good competition. I think I've probably got it wrong with the Dragons as well.
Yeah.
I think the Titans might be marching towards the Spoon.
But that's where I'm leaning, but I don't know.
Yeah. For me, Jimmy, I'm happy to back every prediction I made before we started. I reckon if you look at my ladder, I did a decent job of predicting where every team was.
Where'd you have Para?
Para, I had like 12th.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, which I'm happy with. I think Parramatta end up 12.
All right,
yeah.
Fair dues. I'm going to stick to my guns, but I reckon Newcastle and the Spoon, I think that might be...
too hard? Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think they get the Spoon. Fletcher Sharp was amazing. Yeah, he's out for 2 weeks.
Ponga, he reminded the comp just how good he is. And, you know, we all fell in love with Reece Walsh Mania, and we forgot that there's a couple of other decent fullbacks that come from Queensland as well, or represent Queensland. Yeah. One of those being Kalyn Ponga, who has announced his desire to play for the Kiwis.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, the rules are there in place. Like, I don't think he's going to be Queensland's fullback anyway. Like, he probably would have made that 6-man bench, you would assume, Kalyn Ponga, given his attacking versatility. But yeah, I've got no problem with it. What do you think?
Well, he's going to be the first player that you see in a Maroons jersey, I think, perhaps off the bench, that 4 or 5 months later you see in a Kiwi jersey. And that's going to be maybe a surprise for some people, especially that New Zealand are going to play Australia in the opening game of the World Cup. And that might shock a few people and say, they might not like it. But
I love it. Start with a bang.
Well, but we've already seen Stephen Crichton play for New South Wales and then play against Australia in a World Cup final. Like, against Australia.
Yeah.
So this should be nothing new. Like, this whole idea that England, New Zealand, Australia are these tier 1 nations, like that now is, that argument, I think, is redundant. With the emergence of Tonga and Samoa, Fiji not far behind, Papua New Guinea, who knows where they could get to, with the introduction of them having a full-time NRL team. Like, what is the difference other than nostalgia and whatnot than seeing like a Petro Sivanasiva that is very proud Fijian, represent Queensland, Australia, and then Fiji, or having, like I say, Stephen Crichton, Jerome Luai play for New South Wales respectively, and then play for Tonga.
Yeah. And Ponga...
Samoa.
And it's not like Ponga has represented the Kangaroos. Like,
no.
He played Aussie Nines.
Yeah, exactly. I think this is a boost for the international game. Yeah. We'll likely see Adam Fanua-Blake be made available for he is available for New South Wales. I think he'll play for New South Wales.
Yeah.
And then he'll play for Tonga at the World Cup at the end of the year. But that we've seen.
Yeah, I think we'll see the same for Haas. I think Haas will play for New South Wales and then play for Samoa.
Yeah, we've seen
Tino, we're not sure where he's gonna go yet.
Well, we've seen this before, and the fact that a player is going to represent a state and then go and play for a different country from Australia, and just because that happens to be New Zealand, I think this horse has already bolted. Yeah. And I think I've got to applaud the NRL for allowing this, because it makes Origin better without destroying the fabric. I spoke before about the distinct nature of the New South Wales versus Queensland and how it's not done in world sport. It's the tightest regulation on eligibility that exists in world sport. You can't marry your way in. You can't reside your way in. Like, it's a the criteria is incredibly strict. You can't have, a grandparent that lived there or was claims to be from that country and go in there and qualify. Like, it's incredibly strict. We've got to guard that as a game. We don't want to open the floodgates to make it an all-star game. Nobody's saying that, but it's incredibly strict. I think it's going in the right way. I think it really helps the international game. Some people have said, "Oh, what about Keanu Keeney?" Well, that's international football. The jersey's not yours. It never is. It never was. Like, you just happen to own it for a bit. Like, Keanu Keeney, if he shoots the lights out this year, maybe he gets ahead of Kalyn Ponga. I don't know, but he's in pole position at the moment to get that Kiwi jersey, and that is you should have. Keanu Keeney not getting a jersey is not a reason not to do this.
No. And good on Ponga for making this decision. I love he's done it early in the year as well.
I'm with
I love
you on
he's
that
done
one.
it pre-Origin.
Yeah.
He'll probably still get picked for Origin, I think, in that 6-man bench.
Of course he will, yeah. But, I can't see that deterring Coach Slater.
No.
And same with Britton Nicola. Should he be banging down the door, I can't see that deterring the coaches from picking him.
I'm with you. I should also say, I should have shouted out Barnaby Bickmore Hutt for the weight idea, because we discussed it while going for a swim recently. So he's the man who sparked that idea, and he's a genius.
This podcast is brought to you by NordVPN, and as you can see, I'm here in a hotel room. I'm away in Las Vegas, Nevada, but I am protected. All thanks to NordVPN. The hotel Wi-Fi, great. Thank you so much, Results World. But I want to be safe, so I'm using NordVPN. When I am away, I like to stay in touch with everything happening back home, which is now Australia, but also England as well. And I get to use all the apps, all the streaming services with one click of a button. In fact, no, I don't even need to click. It is on 24/7, 365 for me, NordVPN, because I don't want to worry about any of those people that are trying to get my sensitive information, my password, my login, my banking details. As we all know, our lives are on our phone now. So why not protect it with NordVPN? I often wish I could be in two places at once, Sydney, Liverpool, but I can't be. But I can be with NordVPN. I get to switch my location at the click of a button, which gives me advantages to be in two places at once. We all know we've got that overseas friend. Have you seen that show? Can't get it. Well, yes, you can. If you've got NordVPN, you can hide your location, change your location, and watch all the shows that those overseas friends get to enjoy that you don't. So to get the very best deal from NordVPN, head to nordvpn.com/James Graham, where you get 4 free months with a 2-year plan and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Click on the link in the show notes.
Now let's preview the round, Jimmy. Huge round of footy. Starts tonight, Broncos against the Eels. I'd love to know what you're thinking on this one, because Ezra Mam's now back in the starting lineup. He's going to play 5'8". We are told that he had an injury niggle last week, which is why he came off the bench. Do we believe that or not? Not 100% sure, but Fox is also back for the Eels as well.
Yeah, big inclusion for Parramatta. Josh Adokar, obviously, we know the excitement and finishing ability that he brings. I think there was a late switch last week with Ezra dropping to the bench.
Correct.
And Ben Hunt coming in to start. For me, it's a no-brainer. Ezra Mam is your best 5'8".
Yeah. Would you have Hunt off the bench, or would you have Pakes off the bench?
I think I'd rather have Ben Hunt come off the bench.
Like, would you just like Corey taking that first 20 minutes, make tackles, and then bring Hunt on for the rest of the game?
Yes, and it's more of a utility because there's always the danger of Reynolds or if Reynolds or Mam go down, I don't think you'd want to have started at hooker and then go in as a backup half. Like, it's doable, but it's not ideal. I think, let's not forget, like, Ben and Adam Reynolds are into their mid-30s. Like, it's not the same as it used to be. Like, you've got to manage their workload and manage them through. Like, if I was on the opposition, I might feel differently. But watching South Sydney on Sunday, and once they had the game wrapped up, there was no sentiment about Cody Walker. There was no super coach points, he was off. He was put on to the sideline because South Sydney know that they're going to need him at a later date.
Yeah.
And they need him fresh.
Yeah.
And they don't want to unnecessarily risk injury. So I feel that Ben Hunt is best suited for the bench for those reasons. I don't think he needs to play too many 18 minutes. He might have to at times, but I think he's better off the bench. But this is a big game for the Broncos. They obviously won the competition last year, and I've said this before that, you know, let's look at some of the outliers, some of the new kids on the block of recent years, with Sharks winning the comp in 16, the Cowboys in 15. Yeah, they had plenty of runway after that. Like, they were celebrated, and how good they're the champs, they're the premierships, the premiers. Like Penrith last year, like even when they were at the bottom of the table, people were still talking them up. Like, I think they'll make, it was a debate, will they or won't they make the playoffs? Some people said yes, some people said, very few people said no. Well, the Broncos, they're a different beast. They're being, they won the premiership. People are talking about how many minutes they were ahead during the whole final series. They lost over in Hull, which is same as Penrith, but didn't face the same level of scrutiny. They lose their opening game. They don't register a point. The spotlight, everything they do or they don't do, is going to be spoken about. And this is another layer of complexity and another layer of coaching and, running an organisation that Michael Maguire, his staff, and the administration staff have to deal with.
Yeah, definitely. We're doing predictions earlier. I'll tell you a prediction I'll take back. The Broncos to make the 8. I had them 6, I think. I reckon Parramatta. I don't think they make the 8. I think it's going to be a huge surprise, but I think they'll miss the 8. I think they'll finish 9th.
No.
That's my prediction I'm going to take back, though, because I think Parramatta go up to Suncorp and get the win, Jimmy.
You think?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a big call. I just didn't see enough from Para last week.
I'm actually not that worried about Parramatta. I think they had a performance that was poor, but the signs...
It's fixable.
It's fixable. It's errors. It was, just poor discipline against the Melbourne Storm, and the Melbourne Storm got some momentum and they just ran riot. And that's what the Melbourne Storm have done for the last few years. When they got their tails up, they score points. They score points in a hurry. And
so did Brisbane.
And so did Brisbane, yeah.
So, look, Brisbane have got plenty of points in them against this Para defence.
Maybe. But I think Parramatta will score a few points against the Broncos as well. I think it's going to be a big upset. But I think Parramatta will pull off the upset.
See, I think Brisbane are going to respond. I think
in a big way?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do. I really do think they're going to respond. They almost have to. And I think
so do Parramatta. Parramatta have to respond. A lot of people are tipping them for the 8 this year.
Too difficult, incredibly difficult. You play last year's grand finalists, week 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, cheers.
My main worry for Parramatta is their forward pack just seems to be lacking a little bit of punch. And their back rowers, Kitione Kartonga, I thought looked really good. Jack Williams on an edge. I'm not sure how much I love that. Yeah,
I prefer him in the middle, and he's playing in the middle this week because Hopgood's obviously suspended.
Yep.
Didn't roll the dice, which was interesting. Obviously, Braden Burns did, and Nathan Cleary did. So there's an incentive there. It's the match, not the match review committee. Sorry, the judiciary seem to be open to change, which over the past year or two, from memory, it hasn't been as open. It pretty much seems you fight. You really are up against it, going to fight your case. But 2 from 2 to start the year. The Hopgood one, I think it was a reaction to the injury, the Simbany. It looked to me at first and second viewing like a genuine head clash, which I didn't think warranted foul play. But anyway, he's out. But Para, I just don't know. I think they're the type of team that are going to take some getting going. They need an easier fixture to settle in.
Yeah, fair enough. And we'll see. It's a huge. They're huge outsiders. The Eels, $4, but I think they get the win. On the Broncos, are you worried at all about their edges, Gajewski and Jordan Ricky? Now Gajewski, I reckon he got knocked out in that game last week. And then because there was a try scored on him.
Dylan Edwards,
probably about 10 minutes later, maybe.
I don't think it was as
Not
long
even,
as
it might have
that.
been 5 minutes. And Gajewski, the way he moved laterally, it was like he was still finding his legs. It was like he was not there with us. He got knocked out. He should have at least gone for a HIA.
Look, for me, there was enough there to suggest that player needs to go and get checked.
Yeah, and then I feel like, did you not feel like he just didn't have his legs under himself properly and Edward just easily stepped inside him and scored? I felt like he was groggy out there.
It appeared something was wrong. It was the same with Fletcher Sharper at Vegas round.
With his knee injury where they just went at him.
And I said, look, just give the ball to Heelan Lukey and he'll walk over because he's not capable of making a tackle here.
And that's what he did.
And that's exactly what happened. And Gajewski,
the old Polish surname.
Appeared to be not able to tackle as standard.
Warriors Raiders on Friday, Jimmy. This is a cracking contest. Another prediction, if maybe I was going to have one back, would be I'd probably have the Warriors in the 8 maybe if I could do things all over again. However, it's early days. Obviously in the season the Roosters were quite poor, but they go up against the Canberra Raiders side. It's another big test for them. Keep an eye out for Joe Roddy. I love this guy so much. He's in jersey number 19. You look at their bench, they're 14-17, and they've got Tomoko and Brayley on the bench. I think it's unlikely Tomoko would get used unless there's an injury in the outside back. So we could be seeing Joe Roddy, who in his debut against the Dolphins last year scored 2 tries. I was lucky enough to go to the trial and sat on the sideline for the Raiders trial against the Cronulla Sharks and just watched Joe Roddy, and he's a physical specimen. He moves so well. He looks like almost Hudson Young. And I asked the Raiders about it on game day about Joe Roddy, and they think he's a 250-game player for them. Wow. They love him. They think he's going to be an absolute star. So hopefully we see Joe Roddy in action. Obviously, Josh Papali'i ruled out with concussion, so keep an eye out for him.
Yeah, Smithies comes in to start in the front row. I think I'm fancying the Raiders going over to play the Warriors. Although they dominated the Roosters, I still think there was some holes there defensively. And the Raiders now had a big learning curve in terms of possession at the start of that game. I can't see another NRL game going that way with 12 minutes without without touching the football. I like the Raiders in this one. They're on a high after that travel to Manly victory. I think they go over there to a New Zealand team that are full of confidence after beating the Roosters, but I just think the Raiders and their quality should have enough. And obviously that forward pack of the Raiders is making a statement to say we're the best in the comp. You just have to look at who's not in, who can't get a game.
Yeah,
when everybody's fit. Like the competition for spaces at the Raiders is huge. I think they go over there and get the win.
Well, they've gone straight from the Manly game. They had that night in Sydney, and then they flew straight to New Zealand. So they spent the whole week there.
Shows this here, yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like a little camp for them almost. So
I like that.
Yeah. Friday night, the late game, Book of Feuds, Jimmy. Roosters v Bunnies. I'm very excited for this. Roosters started the week on Ladbrokes as big favourites.
Huge favourites.
They were huge favourites. They've drifted massively. I guess a lot of that will be down to the Rabbitohs' performance against the Dolphins and the Roosters' performance against the Warriors. I think the Bunnies at $2 is very good value on Ladbrokes.
I'm with you, Charlie. I really do. And had you have asked me about making predictions for this game a week ago, I would have said, the Roosters all day. But for me, Souths answered a lot of questions. They really did. The Fafita being able to knock 80 out. I think this will be a different type of game, obviously more emotional, given the atmosphere and the history between the two sides. But I liked what I saw from South Sydney, especially through their middle.
Yeah.
And obviously Roosters with no Lenu, no Robson, it puts pressure on them. And I think Cam Murray Kalyn, those two are probably enough with a little bit of help to get the job done. And then we know that left edge, and you know who they're targeting, and it's only going to take one mistake, and you're going to be able to predict the headlines.
Huge boost that Rabbitohs comes in. He's obviously going to be a much better defensive player than Ponga was or is. So that's big.
It is big for that right edge in general. But like, let's look who you're coming up. There's not a worse sight for right edge defenders than the metal and green this year. I don't believe. No,
it's going to be amazing. Fafita looks fit. Like Latrell in the centers is he's the best center in the game when he plays in the centers. And it was great hearing Luke Keary talk about him on Monday's episode, where he spoke about how it reminded him of when Latrell Mitchell was playing left center for the Roosters, when Luke Keary, when they won those multiple premierships. Like it's just him close to the line. No, I don't think anyone can stop him. There's not a centre in the game who could stop him close to the line. He scored that try with ease where he busted through about 3 Dolphins players close to the line, scored. He'll score 15 tries like that this year, in all honesty. Yeah,
the strength of the human being is phenomenal. If he gets on the outside, if you're that winger, you've got a jam, and he's got that pass in him as well. So I still think there's more to come from him too. Think back to last year, Charlie, debate around whether he's a centre or fullback. He's still putting some amazing displays from the back.
Yeah. That game against the Broncos, that was a 10 out of 10 performance last year.
And when he's on ball, when he gets that like almost first or second receiver play, like that pass of his is insane. Like that he playing in the centres, I can't see him. He won't be able to do that, but he might just change the formation a little bit, and we might see that advancement come later in the year because it's a weapon that you just can't. You can't afford to just keep locked away.
Yeah, this is going to be my same game multi. Obviously, we're going head to head in same game multis all year, Jimmy. And my one for this game, I'm going to go the Bunnies to win, and I've got Alex Johnston to get the record, break the record.
You've got him to break
2+ tries, $5.19. I just think this is set up. I think the Rabbitohs, in all honesty, win quite comfortably. And I think this is set up perfectly for... They're going to try and get this for Alex Johnston against the Roosters. It's the perfect moment to do it. I think fans will storm the field, and I see the Bunnies winning this one quite easily.
I don't know about quite easily. Just run me past your same game multi again, what you've got.
I've got the Rabbitohs to win.
Yeah.
And I've got Alex Johnston 2 tries, 2+
AJ,
tries.
2+.
That's paying $5.19.
All right. Okay. Well, if you can just keep that app open, because on my same game multi for this game, I'm just going to go try scorers only, anytime. Tedesco, anytime. Latrell Mitchell, anytime. And Alex Johnson, anytime also.
Now, is that because you think that this game's too close to call? Is that why you're only doing try scorers?
It's not too close to call. It's just I think there's more value in that.
So that was Alex Johnson, James Tedesco,
Latrell Mitchell,
anytime try scorer. Jimmy, that one is paying $7.39 on Ladbrokes, of course. Gamble responsibly. And what are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. Great game, that one. I can't wait for it. The next game, Jimmy, Tigers, Cowboys, Saturday Arvo, 3 o'clock. I think it's the most important match of the round. And that's because if the Cowboys lose this, a lot of pressure is going to come on Todd Payten. That will be they've lost to the Wooden Spooners in round 1 and another team that struggled in round 2. The next weekend they go to the Gold Coast Titans, and if they lose that one, he may not last much longer. A lot of pressure on the Cowboys.
Well, there's pressure on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Goes Thursday night, the Broncos. Friday night, the Roosters and their right edge. Saturday is headlined by the Cowboys playing the Tigers in their first game. Sunday, then all eyes will be on Manly Seagulls and their second home game of the year. But you're right. There's so much. It appears as though there's so much riding on this. I don't think Coach Payton can afford to start 0-2 against last year's Wooden Spooners and a side that didn't make the 8. There's a lot of optimism in and around the Tigers. We saw Benji Marshall laying down the law to an extent about standards, and if you don't want to be here, it's supposed to be hard. These are all the right messages. These are all the correct things to say, and I think the more I observe that group, the more it's not the message, it's the messenger, and they seem to idolize the messenger, and that is really important. Like your message can be like absolutely spot on, but unless the messenger is the right one, you're on a losing battle. Like, you've got to get people believing in you, and what Benji's saying is 100% correct. Yeah, of course preseason is going to be hard, and he's been backed by the powers that be with a long-term deal, so he's got plenty of runway. There will be an expectation, I think, amongst the group that they will play finals this year for the first time in a long time. If that comes true, then we'll all stand and applaud. I think they're in that middle. They have the potential to be in that middle section. I've still got a few reservations. I've spoke about some players or some teams like separating themselves. Well, Makasini could be the absolute difference. He could be the next big thing in NRL.
He's got a bit of the Mark Nawangini-Tuases about him, where I feel like he's going to produce all these incredible plays that make him must watch every single week. And yes, we're obviously hyping this kid up so much. He scored a couple tries in the trials, and I think Josh Reynolds compared him to Israel Folau.
It's a bit
there's a lot of hyperbole getting thrown around this kid, but I'm excited to see him. Through all the junior setups, they all say he's one of the best players that have come around those setups in recent times, and I can't wait to watch him in the centres this week as well. So not on the wing. Obviously, Stafford Toa's out at the moment with an injury. So I'm fascinated to see what he's like in the centres, particularly defensively.
Yeah, that's it. It's the defensive reads of the centres that the untrained eye can fall away from. Like, they are split-second decisions. The consequence of being 2/10 or 2/100th of a second, 2/10 of a second late is the difference between a try or not a try, shutting down the play or not shutting down the play. So a lot of expectation on him against a side that can attack but struggle defensively. I think there'll be plenty of points in this one, and I think the Tigers get the win.
I think the Cowboys win. They've had a lot of contests, the Tigers and the Cowboys, in the last year, and the Cowboys more often than not get the Tigers. I know they had that year where both teams put 70 or 60 points on each other. That was a weird year, but I think the Cowboys win this one in a close game. It's really tough to say.
It is. Yeah. For me, it's the Tigers. They're going to be like a bull out of a gate. I think they're going to be excited to play. Where I think, the Cowboys coming back from Vegas, long trip home, people will point back to Warriors last year, but Tigers for me.
Yeah. Saturday, 5:30, Dragons against the Storm. Dragons obviously did manage to beat the Storm last year. They had a good win against them.
In the pouring down torrential rain.
Correct.
Storm, absolutely all day. Huge effort from the Dragons. I just can't see them... Can't see them even being close to holding on.
Yeah.
I think the Storm could win comfortably here.
I mean, it was incredible what the Storm did on Thursday. Like, of all the doubters had come for them. They've lost all these players. Turns out Joe Chan's a superstar. Turns out, they've got all these fantastic players still.
Suafalongo
was brilliant. How good's a chip and chase? Is there a better try in the game than a chip and chase?
No, there isn't.
There
isn't a better try than a chip and chase. A chip chase regather.
Chip chase regather is the best thing to watch in rugby league.
It is good.
Yeah, we should do bonuses for players for pulling it off so they try it more often because it's so good to watch.
No, you can't. You can't because people will be trying it left, right, and centre.
Yeah, Sean Bloor
which would be great for the product, but
Sean Bloor might be back.
That's a huge inclusion for Storm.
He's in the extended bench, so if he comes in, be interesting to see who makes way. I mean, Joe Chan looked incredible. Lasati looked incredible. So which one of them drops out? If I was predicting, I'd say Lasati's probably going to be the guy who makes way for Sean Bloor, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think Joe Chan's got the, you mentioned before about 250 game. I think Joe Chan's got that look of him. Obviously, the son of Alex Chan, beast for the Catalans, playing against them. He was huge. I think the Storm they win comfortably.
Saturday night, Panthers Sharks, 2 contenders going head to head. Really big test early for the Sharks to see where they're at. They're going against the Panthers side, who looked incredible, Jimmy. 26-0 the opening weekend. No changes for either side. Tango obviously had that late switch to the bench. He's not in the team. He's in the extended bench. So I think we can expect that Jenkins has that wing spot moving forward and Alamotti will play in the centres.
It's a big call that from Coach Cleary. They invested a lot in Isaac Tango, and you'd think that it looked as though he was their man. He was their next big superstar centre. And last year he probably didn't have his best season. And you thought, well, he'll come back and he'll just maybe that was a little blip, but it just for whatever reason people have skipped ahead. Obviously, McLean, who's phenomenal. I think.
Alamotti's brilliant as well.
Alamotti's just
underrated player last year.
Probably, he is underrated. Yeah, he is. But you've got to feel for those types of players that aren't getting a game, that are on the extended bench and no guarantees of getting on. But just on this game, important the Sharks don't start where they left off, because the second half was a bit meh against the Titans. They're going to be completely dialed in. And even the first half, to be fair, they're not going to get those opportunities against this team. It's got to be a different approach for Cronulla. If they think it's going to be anywhere near comparable, they're gone. They got Penrith will expose you. I still think the Panthers will be too strong. For the Sharks, although there's a lot of upbeat, a lot of buzz. I think this could be a reality, not a reality check, but just let's pull back a bit.
Yeah, I think the Sharks can win this game, but I will go with the Panthers as well. I think it's going to be really close though, Jimmy. I mean, Sharks at 3.30. I like that on Ladbrokes in terms of value. I think that's overs for what they should be paying.
Yeah. But I just Penrith's defence. I just Trindle and Hines, Brayley, they've got their hands full.
Sunday afternoon, Sea Eagles Knights. No Sharp, which is going to be a huge loss. But Sandon Smith.
It is Sandon Smith.
He's good, mate. He's good. But Sharp, I was so impressed with Sharp.
In the opening 30 minutes.
Best 20 minutes any player had all say, Trindle. Maybe Trindle had a pretty good half. But I thought Sharp was incredible in that game, and he showed so much potential. I think it's a big loss for them. But you're right. Smith, they've got depth.
Well, it was the debate, wasn't it, about who they were going to go with, and according to some sources, it was Smith and Brown in the halves. They've obviously, that change is forced. But the Knights, really, the feature of their spine play was their number one. Like, he was their best halfback. He was doing a fair bit of the kicking. He wanted the football. Like, he was Ponga was almost a dominant half. Like, he played like a fullback, but also like a 5'8" at the same time. So, and he was on everything in that opening game. So, expect to see more of that. I do feel the Sea Eagles will respond though. Like, they almost have to. Like, you look at the draw when it comes out. You got 2 home games. You'd have been eyeing 4 points. It would be heartbreaking for the Manly side if they don't get a win. Like, I think they've got to, and I think Newcastle, they were good. I just don't want to fall too in love with them just yet.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think they're too good now for Spoon based off what we saw in that opening 80 minutes. But no Manly for me.
I'm with you, Manly. The late game then, Dolphins Titans. Platt's back, Stone's back. No changes for the Titans. Campbell's still out with that hamstring injury. Dolphins huge favourites. I think the Dolphins win comfortably.
Points, more points. This could be a high-scoring affair. Dolphins for me, Charlie, all the way. I've backed them.
Yeah.
I like what they do. Bit of a slap in the face last week. Dolphins. Not easily, because Titans will throw a bit at you.
Well, I just checked the weather, because obviously we were in Brisbane on Sunday for the Dolphins game, and it was pissing down all game.
It wasn't great.
And it's raining again this weekend in Brisbane. So a lot of rain for Brisbane.
That's disappointing.
Which could affect this contest.
Yeah, it could. But Dolphins should have enough. And I think if they don't learn from last weekend's game in the wet, then that's on them. But they should have.
Great show, Jimmy. As always, my friend. You're an absolute superstar of the game of rugby league.
Thanks, Charlie. Enjoy your sunrise appearance.
Thank
you park wherever you want, pal. You've got that sunrise privilege, buddy.
I'll keep doing that. Tune in, Channel 7, Saturday morning, and you can see me.
What a sell. Cheers, guys. We'll catch you soon. How long we go for there?
Hour? Yeah.
Felt fucking...